Where I come from. I'm from Scranton, Pennsylvania. And at that point, back in those days in Pennsylvania, there was a community that was ready for people that wanted to find recovery. They had a very strong presence, not only in the treatment aspect of things, they were very strong in the outreach, very strong in the 12-step programs, whether it's AA, CA, and NA. And I see them all here today. They're all great organizations. I can tell you that for me, my program of recovery is a total abstinence recovery. I don't take anything or put anything into this body. I don't say that's for everybody, but that was my chosen path. And that chosen path has offered me an awful lot of opportunities in my life. I was a guy that when I got here, I was hopeless, homeless, and heartless. I didn't like people, I didn't like to be around people, I didn't like to talk to anybody. Some people say today they can't shut me up. But I can tell you on a daily basis, I took care of my recovery. I made sure that I did what I needed to do for my recovery to put one foot in front of the other and set myself up for good things. And my life started to get better and better and better. And my biggest fear, because I had done this over and over in the past, I didn't just decide one day, have a cup of coffee, wake up one morning, have a cup of coffee and say, hey, I think I can get in recovery. There was a lot of damage I've done out there. A lot of people that I hurt, a lot of things that I'm not proud of. I've been pronounced dead in my day. And I'm here today. Because I really truly believe that my higher power, God, has allowed me to move forward in my life so that good things can happen. And as a result of that, I've been able to forge some wonderful relationships with my family, which I didn't have. I had lost my family. My family didn't want anything to do with me. They loved me, but they couldn't be around me. They didn't like me the way I was. I had a daughter for 18 years. I wasn't a father to. And those were the first 18 years of her life. If you had asked me 25 years ago what kind of dad I was, I'd tell you I was Father of the Year. And in reality, I was a scumbag for a father. I wasn't there emotionally, I wasn't there physically, I wasn't there mentally, I wasn't there spiritually. I thought it was just a check that I had to write every month and that would be it. And that would make me the Father of the Year. So wrong I was. And as those times continued in my life, and I kept hurting the closest people around me, I was very fortunate. I had some good things happen. I was connected with some very, very good people in a lot of different ways. And I played some professional athletics, and I was able to move forward in my life. And I was a high school wrestling and baseball coach, and everybody saw that one side of me, and they didn't see the other side. The insanity of Kevin Knowles' life. And as time went on, that side just kept exposing itself more and more and more. I got to a point in my life that someone once told me, they said, whether it's by judge, by nudge, or by a grudge, however you get there, grasp onto that recovery. And my first go around was a nudge by a friend of mine who happened to be the district attorney and told me that I was facing 25 years in prison. I don't know about anybody else, but prison wasn't something that I wanted to do. So he told me what I needed to do, and I did it. I always knew how to get by. The next time was by a judge. 1991, the judge came to me and said, this is what you're going to do if you do this. And you go to AA meetings, you get these meeting slips signed, and follow these different programs that you're doing, we'll take care of you. And they did. But you know what? I took that opportunity, and I had an incident in my life where my dad died in my arms, and I cursed God. I didn't want anything to do with recovery. Didn't want anything to do with those type of meetings or whatever you called them at that time. And you know what? I continued to move on in life, and my life ended up being very insane without drugs or alcohol. very, very, very insane. I might as well have been using drugs and alcohol because I was behaving and acting the same way, but without. And I did that for about 3 years. And then something happened. I thought I was okay to have a drink. I remember taking that drink, and I remember it going down, and I remember it hitting and how it tasted. And I came to the next day, and it wasn't pretty. I had done some things, and I didn't look too good, and I said to myself, I didn't want to live like this anymore. And that was the first time that Kevin Knowles said to himself and to God, that God, please help me, I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to be this person. I like this other side of Kevin, the kind, compassionate side, but I don't like the side of Kevin when he's displaying his behaviors and attitudes when he's using, or when he's not taking care of recovery. So I went on that journey, and that journey took me to a place, and I happened to be sitting around at the table. Maybe some of you people know what they are. They're like little meetings. And maybe some of you don't, I don't know. But for me, those little meetings and those little meeting tables saved my life, and they saved my life today. And I happened to be there, and this young girl was talking about, and I could see her face, I could hear her, I couldn't tell you her name or where she's at today, but she had talked about how she wished she had a relationship with her father, but couldn't because of drugs and alcohol and how he behaved. I was 39 years old, and it's the first time I ever cried. And I cried like a baby, and I couldn't stop. That girl grabbed me by my arm, she took me to a phone, and she said, Kevin, we're going to call your daughter. She calls my daughter, who at the time is 19 years old, and I get on the phone, and she says, I said to her, I said, Kara, I'm sorry for all the hurt and the pain that I've caused you. And I started crying like a baby. I couldn't stop, uncontrollably. And I truly believe to this day, that's when God stepped into my life and talked and spoke through her. My daughter, I hope and pray that I never forget the words that my daughter said to me that day as I couldn't stop crying uncontrollably and asking God, please don't let me live like this anymore. She said, you know what, Dad, there's times I needed you and you weren't there. There's times I didn't want you in my life. What you need to do, Dad, is you need to reach down deep inside you. Find out what makes you do the things that you do. You need to bring God back into your life. Once you do that, Dad, the one thing I never denied was the love I have for you and the love you have for me. It was like somebody threw me a life jacket. And I hold on to that every day. And then I got involved. I got involved in the 12-step program of my choice. I got involved in it. I went to a meeting every day. I didn't drive. I had lost my license to drive for life in 1980. For the first 7.5 years of my recovery, I did not drive. I went to a meeting every day. I went to a meeting every day because it was so important for me to be able to be the person that I wanted to be and not the person I was. And the only way I could do that is by hanging around people with the same mindset. And I remember a guy saying to me, I was about 3 months clean and sober, he said, who are you hanging out with? And I mentioned 3 guys' names, and he looked at me, shook his head, and he goes, they got 3 months too, right? And I said, yeah. He said, you hang around with 3 months, you only get 3 months. He said, start expanding your network. Start bringing people in recovery that are living this program, that are going out to the meetings, they're bringing up their family, they're treating their girlfriends right, they got good jobs, they're doing the next right thing. Next thing I know, these guys were surrounding me. And they would take me to meetings. They would teach me about how to have a relationship. I met a wonderful woman in my life. I never could have a relationship beyond, even with myself, let alone anybody else. And I remember the first date we went on, and our sponsors had said to us, when the date is over, go home and go home alone. And I didn't know what that concept was. And since that day, I've been blessed. I've been married to that woman now 21 years, who also is in recovery 24 years. And up to this point, we go back and forth a little bit. We've never had an argument. And I can honestly say that. And that's a direct result of God. That's a direct result of my recovery program. And after 25 years of not having a license, in 2005, the state of Pennsylvania saw that I was doing good and they gave me the privilege to drive back in May of 2005 after 25 years. That's what happens when people get in recovery. That's what happens to me when I got in recovery. I was a guy that you could not get close to. I was a guy that kept everybody away. Here I am, I get my license back. I start getting these great jobs, and I start taking my recovery off. I start getting a great network. Nobody can tell me that if you won't work a program of recovery to the fullest extent, that you can't succeed. Where else, and I say, where else can you go and be in recovery and be the mayor of Martinsburg? Those things just don't happen. That is a direct result of my total abstinence program, my 12-step program, my faith in God, and the people that I keep close around me. That's how it works for me. I can't tell you how it works for you all, but I'm here to tell you how Kevin Knowles made it to where he's at standing here today. I can also tell you that every day, I don't want to be around people. I don't like people. That's the disease. Kevin does not like people. I get up every morning and I have a conversation with God. And it's between him and I. And I always ask him to be able to allow me to offer myself to other people. And then I leave my house and go, lo and behold, I'm around people all the time. I talk to people all the time. And I ask God to help other people. I really, there's only one thing that I ask God at the end of my prayer. And this is I'd lie if I said it happens 100% of the time, but I would be telling the truth if I tell you it's about 90% or more. That I end my prayer every morning, and I ask my higher power, my God, to be with me through my thoughts, my actions, and my words. Because left to those things based on my own emotions and my own thoughts and the way that I have those knee-jerk reactions, I get in trouble all the time. But if I allow the spirit of my higher power, what I call God, to fill me as I walk, guess what? Good things happen. Someone told me, put one foot in front of the other, set yourself up for good things, and good things will happen. And I stand here today. That daughter that I had lost for 18 years. She is now 44 years old. I've gotten to walk her down the aisle. And that would never have, ever have been in that picture. That picture would have never happened for me. This program that I follow, my 12-step program, my total abstinence program, has allowed me to do an awful lot of things. And I stand here as a testament that recovery does work. I've been involved in the recovery community not only personally but also professionally. I worked in Mountaineer. I thank God for Mountaineer every day. Great people, great work that they do down there. I work for another organization today up in Pennsylvania. I started the Recovery Resource Program, which we have down, Resource Center, which we have down at the end here. I worked with the county, I worked with the state, I worked with the federal government, all because of this epidemic that we have found here in our community. So once again, if you think you cannot succeed in recovery, and you're new and you're just kind of figuring or trying to figure this out, or if you're a family member or anybody that knows somebody that is struggling, there is hope. My grandmother used to say, hope springs eternal. And I take that word hope and I use it as an acronym. And that acronym for me is hearing other people's experiences. If I don't go and do what I need to do for my recovery, like I said, whether it's, I don't care if it's CAA, rubbing Buddha's belly, I don't care. As long as you're doing something on a daily basis to take care of your recovery. That's what it did for me. It's offered me opportunities beyond my wildest dreams. beyond my wildest dreams. I'm a grandfather today. My grandkids, they've never seen their grandfather drunk or using or anything, and I hope and pray that it never happens. So again, if you have someone that is struggling that you know, if you're new in recovery, again, I don't care what recovery it is, there is hope. People do recover. I stand here today as the Mayor of Martinsburg and tell you, I am recovering. Thank you very much.